Hey, what's up, all you beautiful people? Now, before I start getting into this video, I would just like to say I am super duper sorry. Um, so the reason why I've been off for the last 2 weeks is because I've got something called seasonal allergies, which, if any of my viewers who struggle with seasonal allergies lives in Missouri, you guys know how hard it is to come back to that. The problem was I was just coughing a lot, and for me, I think that's kind of rude to cough in the mic, and because of my mic being so sensitive, uh, it's kind of odd. So, anyways, so today I am going to be ranking all of the Devil May Cry 2 bosses. Now, for the people who haven't seen my original video, the Devil May Cry 1 boss rankings, I'm going to put it right here. One thing before I get started, I will be ranking these bosses off of their design, their mechanics, and their difficulty. Now, another thing before I do start, because I feel that, unfortunately, with Devil May Cry 2 being a not well-liked game, unfortunately, I feel that most boss rankings of this game turns into why this game sucks. But I'm going to try my best to make it more of the bosses and not the game in general. But obviously, I'll probably be putting some gags throughout the video. So anyways, guys, let's get on with the video and roll that footage. Ah, shit. So the very first boss that I want to talk about is the Orangura, which I put him at a 4 out of 10. So he's very easy with guns, but has really good short-range fighting. But is a simple starting boss, which is something that you always want. And you could choose him if you go into your DT form, and he has a really cool design. The second boss is Jokat Gold, which I put him at a 6 out of 10. So he has a kind of cool design with really hard cheese tactics, with good mechanics to make you change stances throughout the fight, which basically means that you can't just go on like one part of the boss, that it will change which way of fighting up, so that way you have to find another approach to fighting the boss, which I really like about this boss. Reki and Buri, which I put them at a 2 out of 10. So they have not bad mechanics with a very simple design, and it's a very easy fight. And then number 4, I have Wolf, which I put him at a 2 out of 10. He has a really good design with great minor ganking. Which ganking, if you guys don't know, is when you have more than one opponent. Which also means that you also have to try to fix a stance inside the fight where you can also kind of have a little bit of crowded control, which I think that this boss has some pretty good ones. And so he also has really good long and short range attacks, and he has a very balanced difficulty, but with really out of date camera controls, which is something that I also cover on the Devil May Cry 1 video, because unfortunately this too has the fixed camera control. So number 5 is the Infested Tanks. I put this one at a 1 out of 10. So it has really bad defensive mechanics and the cheese that you could do within the fight is very lazy. All you have to do is basically just stay under them. They don't move that much, and they have no way of like getting you off. And they also have no variety of movesets, and the design is very out of date. It looks like a really bad PS2 game. Number 6 is Infested Chopper, which I also put them at a 1 out of 10. So it has an unbalanced amount of HP, and with a lack of variety of moves, with really bad tracking on the missiles, and also the arena that you use, which unfortunately, because it is a Devil May Cry game, the platforming sections of those games are my least favorite. And unfortunately, you have to fight a boss while platforming, which means that whenever you're on top of the building, which is kind of like the last part of the arena, you go and you can actually fall off, which again I think is absolutely dumb. So yeah, and also it's the same exact asset for the tank, which again is really, really out of date. Number 7 is Nephistoris, which I put him at a 5 out of 10. It has really good, with a really good amount of health, and it has challenging difficulty, and also a very but simple moveset. So this boss has 3 phases, and each phase all have their own special moveset. But they're very simple, to where you could very well dodge if you really need to. Number 8 is Furia Taurus. I put him at a 7 out of 10. He has an awesome design with a good variety of attacks, with a really good HP, and it's pretty immune with DT. So, like, if you're trying to fight him with DT, it's pretty much all the same, which is also really, really good. And it also has its own AoE, which is something that you don't see a lot in this game. So number 9, I have Noct Paran, which I put them at a 1 out of 10. It has really boring mechanics with few variety of attacks, and also very out of date assets, with them being easily exploited. Now, one of the cooler things about it is that it's a lesser version of ganking, but it's still really bad though. Number, I believe this is 10, is Plutonian. I put him at a 5 out of 10. A very cool design with very easy cheese tactics, such as being very slow and having no long range attacks. But is a really, really cool boss fight if you're able to fight him in short range. Number 11 is Phantom, which I put him at a 2 out of 10. He's a reskin, which now, if people have seen my Dark Souls videos, or my Dark Souls 1 video, you guys would probably know that I have no problem with reskins. But it cannot be a neutered version, or one that is a lesser version of that. So for instance, like the Capra Demon. Capra Demon, even though it does seem easy in the later game, in reality, it's just that you've actually just leveled up way more, and you've been able to get way more gear than the pesky third boss fight that a lot of people got stuck on, which is something that I really like. Unlike Phantom, where Phantom is a neutered version of himself, with even like really bad animations, which is something that we see. Like for instance, here's a video of how Dante is after a sting. yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Unfortunately, it's pretty much the same way with Phantom. Number 12 is Trixmagia, which I put him as a 4 out of 10. He has a really cool design with a not so great variety of attacks. But he is used as a version for King Cerberus and Devil May Cry 5. Which, for me, I have to give him a little respect because the King Cerberus fight is one of the cooler ones. But my biggest problem is that it's the fact of that fight, you basically have to use your guns. Which, unfortunately, that's a common thread throughout this game. Number 13, I have Arius, which I put him as a 3 out of 10. So he has a kind of cool design with horrible voice acting. So toward the very end of the game, he sounds like a really, really bad version of Dia in Part 3, which I'll show you that. So that's what I'm saying. But also a variety of attacks is nothing. With that, he does some enemy spawns and doesn't really have any close-up attacks. And also very, very easy. Number 14, Possessed Arius, which I put him as a 5 out of 10. Not a bad design with a couple of cool mechanics and with a good range of both long and short range attacks. Number 15 is Argo Sax, which I put him as so one of the common threads throughout the Devil May Cry series is boss rushes, which Argo Sax is the version of that, which I don't even want to consider this a Devil May Cry boss rush or whatever. So it has really bad and out of dated designs. But it's very boring at times, and is really, really hard, which is super duper weird. With also, again, reskins of Phantom and Griffin, which Griffin in this game has no, his rate of fire on his beams are absolutely stupid. Number 16, I have the Despair Embodied, which I have him as a 9 out of 10. Has really good design, but unfortunately is easily cheesed with BT. But also has a really good variety of mechanics as well. And it also does somewhat put up a little bit of a difficult time. So anyways, guys, hope you guys like this video. So yeah, I will see you all on Friday when we return back to the Agent Grayson storyline. I've also begun writing that one, and let me tell you, it's getting really good. Anyways, guys, hope you guys like this video, and also make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. For the people who don't know, for the people in the back, and that's because what it does is that it puts me on the algorithm, which means more people are able to see my videos, which means more people who, might have, who might be burned out on manga or gaming, or, want to learn more about comics, because one of their favorite Marvel movies or DC movies are coming out, or however it is, they're able to see this and be able to learn, which I think is something that's so very important. Anyways, guys, hope you guys like this video. I will talk to you all later. Show the meme.
Hamburger! Crazy hamburger! This is horrible! Crazy hamburger! Crazy hamburger! Crazy hamburger!